the creative process, an unfolding journey where life becomes art. It's about more than just the finished work. It's about the moments of discovery, the unexpected detours, and the vulnerability of shaping raw experience into something that resonates and endures. Process is where the magic happens, where intuition meets intention, and where the act of creating becomes an exploration into what it means to be human. What happens when two artists with unique approaches to their craft come together to reflect on their processes? How do their methods, experiences, and perspectives mirror, contradict, and illuminate each other? What can we learn about the process of creation and the power of creativity from the intersections and juxtapositions of their work? I'm Jeff Chang, and this is Edge of Reason. A limited series podcast produced by Atlantic Rethink, the Atlantic's creative marketing studio, in partnership with Hauser & Wirth, a home to visionary modern and contemporary artists. As a special episode this season, we're excited to share a live conversation between two extraordinary artists whose work captures the essence of life itself. Annie Leibovitz is one of the most iconic portrait photographers of our time, known for her ability to balance intimacy and theatricality. Amy Sherald is one of the most iconic portrait painters of our time, celebrated for works that picture the breadth and luminosity of American culture. Together in conversation with Ford Foundation President Darren Walker, they unpack the beauty, the challenges, and humanity embedded in the act of creation. They talk about painting and photography and how to capture energy. They talk about how they came to some of their most famous works, and also the work they did together. And they talk about the business of being an artist and the messiness and the delight of process. Here now is that discussion.
Oh my goodness.
Hi.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. You are in for a treat.
Annie and I are nervous.
So we were just back in the green room. We were just back in the green room, and they were saying, "Why are we here?
We're Rex.
Why are we
We're
here?"
Rex. We're
Artists
Rex.
that don't know how to do or don't like to do artist talks, raise your hand.
But you are here, and you are here because we need to hear from Amy Sherald and Annie Leibovitz. We need your voice, we need your perspective, we need your art.
So you should go to Hauser & Wirth, and you should go definitely to the Museum of Modern Art in San Francisco. And it's going to be the Whitney soon, which is,
Yes.
is great. So what I wanted to tell you is I was
Yeah.
doing my research, and you said you were doing your research, and you were looking up me, and I was looking up you. And then, my editor, Sharon Delano, sent me an article, that David Hockney had written about is painting better than photography.
Yes.
And it sent me in a tizzy because, of course, he ended up saying that painting was better than photography. And then I got
you didn't
into
like
this,
that. You didn't like that answer.
But then I kind of looked it up, and I realized it was written in 2004.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, this is coming from a painter.
Yeah.
Because, and also in 2004, because so much has happened since then with photography and, digital work. And he did mention towards the end of his piece that he, that with the input of new technical digital work, it was coming closer to painting, and I thought that was interesting. But you work with photographs too, so I always found that very interesting.
It depends on what kind of painting, right? Because I think photography and painting are similar when you're using film, because it captures the same thing. Like I was just recently watching 100 Years of Solitude, and in the series, this guy brought the main character, daguerreotype camera obscura. Did I say that right? I don't know.
I think it's a couple of things
Yeah.
put together.
So, you know, it was the beginnings of the
it's
camera.
back then.
Yeah, and his intent once he saw his first image was to try to go around and take pictures to try to capture God, to see if he could take a picture of God. Like, God is out there, like, let me see if I can, you know, take a picture and this energy will allow itself to be seen. But I think in painting and when you work with film, let's say, I don't know what kind of film, because I'm technically not a photographer, guys, so 35 millimeter camera?
You know, now it's almost anything. In fact, Hockney himself sort of introduced me to the idea of breaking the frame.
Yeah.
And not, you know, because having done this a pretty long time, my original work was really based on Cartier-Bresson, Robert Frank, 35 millimeter, you know, in a frame. Basically, Hockney did these photo montages of all these photographs kind of put together, and I said, oh my God, that is how the eye actually sees. And I see what he means about how limiting photography is. But it's different for us in portraiture. I think so. I think, you know, the way you use photography, anyway.
We're going after the same thing, and I think it's energy. I think in your work, you capture the essence of what it is to be human. In my work, I capture the essence of what it is to be human, and it's the energy. And I always bring up Alice Neal because she wasn't a realist painter, but she also captured the essence of what it was, you know, through paint.
So I was so jealous of you as a painter because, and I would cite Alice Neal as well, you know, in portraiture, because you can look at, you know, Alice Neal it's definitely done in pieces. Mm-hmm. You feel like the portrait is done she's looking at different parts of the body and she's painting them, and it creates movement. Mm-hmm. You know, and so I've always been, so all I'm really trying to bring up now is the new digital work. I'm actually coming clean now and saying I'm starting to take pieces and work almost like a painter, but not, you know. Anyway, Alice Neal. In
your beginnings, you were a painting major, right?
Not a very good painter.
What was your work like?
But I didn't have the patience to. I was too young.
Yeah.
And, I see what it takes for you to paint.
And I desire the instant gratification of the camera.
I'm sorry, what?
I said I desire the instant gratification of the camera.
Do you feel that the camera is a medium that gives you instant gratification? Do you feel that the camera, you get gratification
Nothing's
instantly?
instant. It's bullshit. Nothing is instant. It really is. And just look
it's the grass is greener kind of thing. I feel like the grass is greener, but it's really not. Originally it was. Originally it was fast. Originally it was, you know, as a young person, you're out there just photographing everything, and then, you know, you're not really. But now it's definitely more. Anyway, I do want to say that what I do is really working in popular culture, what's going on right now, and you are doing something. Amy, you are a genius. You're a genius.
You are a genius.
We have two geniuses that are acknowledging that each is a genius.
I just have to say, I picked up, you know, kudos to this catalog, because what happened was, these are my notes. My daughter said, "Mom, don't take that up on stage. You'll never find anything." So. You know, to see this done in a way where you've turned the page, and it's so powerful to me to see your work like this, to see how you really are thinking in this catalog, you know, and you've started. Maybe all along you've been making it up. I'm not making it up, but you're making up a world.
Yes.
That is. I'm so, again, envious. I'm dealing with kind of a semi-reality, although there's no such thing as reality.
Yeah.
But,
I see world making when I look at your catalogs, though. Like when I went through Wonderland, that was world making. And because I also went through a phase where I was really into Alice in Wonderland. And I just love to see the theatrics and the tonality and the narrative and how you composed these images. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. So I think,
But one of the things you do, Amy, I think, is you have a particular insight and perspective and representation of Blackness and of a humanity and of a dignity that you seem to be compelled to want to paint. One of your favorite paintings, there are so many beautiful, amazing Amy Sherald paintings, is the painting Welfare Queen. I love that painting. Talk about Welfare Queen.
Speaking of film, it's the only painting that I ever thought about making into a short film. When I say short, it could be like 30 seconds. But I had a studio in Baltimore, Maryland, and I would walk to my studio from where I lived, which was this neighborhood called Bolton Hill, and I would have to walk up a street called Utah Place. And on this street, it was like there was a market called Lexington Market. There was a methadone clinic. It was just like complete and total chaos. And I came up with the idea because I was thinking about a painting, and there was this girl that was standing on the corner, and I was standing there. I used to listen to, like on repeat, I would always listen to the March of the Penguins soundtrack for some reason. So there's all this chaos around me. There's like people yelling. There's like the guy that just got out of prison whose name was Swole, who's selling water. There's like somebody selling there's the Fruit of Islam. There's like a woman who was like miming to like gospel music on the corner. And then there was just this one girl that was standing there. And in my mind, I imagined that all these people that were walking towards her, past her, that they were taking something off of her and putting something on her. And for some reason, Chicken Soup of the Soul was coming up. But like, maybe I was reading that book at the time, I'm not sure. But in the painting itself is a friend of mine named April, who was born in Baltimore, Maryland, in a neighborhood called Cherry Hill. And she was the first in her family to go to college. She went to Harvard. She went on to Columbia. And for me, she represented that kind of evolution, that transformation. And so she is Welfare Queen. And so like after they transform her from this, young girl to this princess, then she's walking around on stilts, I guess. So she's like bigger than life. And she's handing out something, I'm not sure yet, but this is why I've never made this movie, because when I talk about it, I'm like, yeah, no, it's not gonna be good.
I think there's great potential. Annie, you have in some ways created the soundtrack of American life through photography. And you have photographed just about every celebrity. And not only have you photographed them, you have done the iconic photograph. So I think about Demi Moore, a pregnant Demi Moore on the cover of Vanity Fair. Was that your idea? Or did Demi say, let me get naked and take this picture?
I had photographed Demi and Bruce Willis together on occasion, and Vanity Fair was doing a cover on Demi Moore, and they said the only problem is Demi's pregnant, so you're going to have to work around that, because no one,
You're going to
it's
have to
true.
work around her pregnancy?
In those days, you didn't photograph, someone looking pregnant. That was, so I was, I went out to LA armed to basically photograph Demi's, face, do a head portrait, which I'm not very good at, by the way. Interestingly enough, I had done some work with Demi and Bruce when she was pregnant with their first child, and I did some photographs of her nude with Bruce and pregnant, and on another occasion. And so I said, listen, why don't we do some, since you're here, let's go ahead and do some pictures of you, nude now, so you have the second child, and photographed, and so you can see the baby. And so we took these pictures, and as I was taking them, I said, I wonder if this could be a cover, if we could run this. I brought the material back to New York. Tina Brown was the editor. And I was with Susan Sontag at the time, and Susan saw it, and she said, "You have to do this. This. I'm calling Tina Brown right now. You have to run this. This is too important. You have to do this." And at the time, we actually reached out to Demi and said, "How do you feel? Are you comfortable?" We didn't really know what its ramifications were and how important it would be in the scheme of things. Demi and I talked about, well, what does it mean? We had to try to figure out how to talk about it. And of course it went on to, it's turned out to be so important. I mean, doctors put it in their offices.
It's a cultural, you transformed what for centuries had been this difficult cultural reality of pregnancy and the inconvenience of the way a woman looks while she's very pregnant, especially. And you transformed something into a cultural asset. I mean, all sorts of women now get naked when they're 8 months pregnant. It's transformed the way as a cultural phenomenon. You transformed how
I think of how Rihanna brought it full on, and I admire Rihanna so much for she's just sort of walking around, and it's so beautiful. I mean, it is beautiful now. It's very, very beautiful.
That's the power of art, right? It is the power of art. And Amy, when you think about the moment you learned that Michelle Obama had chosen you.
Come on, church.
I mean, you were, it's not as if you were unknown. You had gallery shows. I'd seen your work at Monique.
I was known in the art world.
Yeah, in the art world. You were absolutely known. And
But baby known.
I was a baby. I just want to add one quick thing about I have to say it about Michelle Obama. Having worked with her the year she was in the White House, what you gave her in that was you gave her back herself, because she had lost herself in the White House, and you gave her back her dignity and herself and who she was, and it's such a powerful portrait.
Thank you. That means a lot. Oh my God.
No, oh my God. I mean, I felt so bad for Mrs. Obama. I mean, for Michelle, towards the end especially, she just hated it.
Yeah.
Just hated it.
It was rough. It was rough
so
for her. Yeah.
where were you? Were you driving on I-10 to, what were you doing when Thelma Golden called you and said, go to the White House?
I mean, I wish Thelma had called me. I didn't meet Thelma. I met Thelma for the first time in the White House. And I'm sitting there should I be more excited to meet Thelma or Barack? Because I'm kind of excited to meet Thelma. But Dorothy Moss called me. I was in my studio. I was at in a residency, a 3-year kind of live workspace residency program in Baltimore. And I was working. I was painting. And she called and she's like, you should sit down. And I'm like, I don't want to sit down. Just tell me what it is. And she said she chose you to paint her portrait. And I was like, it was just ugh. And I sat down with my dog, August Wilson, who was also a Virgo like his mom. And I was like, your mom's gonna be famous. You'll never have to eat cheap dog food again. But I also had a knowing, right? So I had a knowing. Like, I've been through a lot in my life, and I always say I didn't survive everything I went through not to make it. I didn't know whether I was going to be chosen or not, but I had a very strong feeling about painting her. And even in the interview process, I didn't realize that I was there to talk to her and Barack was there because in my mind, the opportunity only came with me putting her image into the world and like connecting with her. And I think it was, I remember Barack had asked a question and she was like, no, like, just, he was like, how would you paint me? And I was like, I don't know. I actually haven't thought about it. Because in my mind, I was like thinking about Michelle, because I felt,
I'm not interested in painting you. I want to paint her.
I mean, like, I would have, but Michelle is Michelle. You know what I mean? And even Barack knows she's more popular than he is. You know what I'm saying? So
I told you guys you were in for a treat. Okay, so did you know that you were going to be Annie Leibovitz? Did you know that you were destined to be like amazing and that you had this talent that you knew as a kid?
We love our work. We work. We just love what we do, and that propelled me through all of these years, and even to this day, I love what I do. I am on a mission for the body of work. Having done this so many years and have such a big archive that to look at all these years, it even overwhelms me, to understand. So I feel very responsible to the body of work and sense of history and culture and that I will continue to do that. So, but thank you.
But you talked about history,
right?
And you're loving history, and you understand that photography has a particular role. When I think about Frederick Douglass and those photographs.
That was like a very important, portrait of him.
Well, and he was the most photographed man.
Yeah, he was for sure.
In the 19th century, and it was really important that he was. But you see yourself as documenting history, not a photographer, but you truly see yourself having a responsibility to do that.
And I like to try to stay, try to stay current. So, yeah.
I didn't realize that you were a wartime photographer, until I was going, I don't know what, I've looked at so much over the past 2 weeks about you, but I was reading about Sarajevo, and I didn't realize that you were there photographing in the midst of everything that was happening.
Well, Susan Sontag went, and to her chagrin, I trailed along,
Yeah.
But, I think it's important to be in places, it's interesting because, with everything that's going on now, I do think some of the greatest photography that's so intact right now is our photojournalism. I think it's really very powerful. I think photography, in answer to Hockney, we've never had better photojournalism as right now. And, every single day in the newspaper we see things, or online, that is so powerful.
The way the fires are being
done.
documented right now also, just shout out to the photographers in Los
The
Angeles.
way the fire in LA is being
Some of those
documented
images
is
are
great.
so powerful, yeah.
It's amazing when you think about the photography right now, and you talk about instantaneous, but what is being transmitted, as you say, during the last week around the fires, gave you a sense of urgency, and as only photography can do. You felt like some of the photographs, you literally could feel heat emanating from the pictures. It was, the photography was that powerful, that profound.
Definitely the still is alive and well. It's, I have to reach out to David Hockney actually soon, and just to have a talk with him.
Let's all have coffee, because I would like to meet him.
I have a feeling he would still believe that painting was indeed.
But Amy, actually, we have unfinished business, because I do want to. I was thinking about that the session that we had, the first one we had, and I don't even remember those pictures, because I was so obsessed with what you told me. You told me about how your mother had kept your childhood home. Your room
exactly the way that
exactly
it was when I left. Yeah.
Growing up, and you weren't allowed to put any imagery, on
posters on my wall in my bedroom. The bedspread matched the bed ruffles, matched the floor, matched the paint on the walls. Like everything was pristine. And it's funny. So what's interesting, and this is how when I say like you walk into a space and you like don't have a plan and let the plan evolve. When Annie came to Columbus, Georgia to photograph me in that house, which my parents built in 1973, we had not been in that house for 3 years. And so this was 2023. COVID had come upon us. My mom, my sister, and I, we all hunkered down in Atlanta, Georgia. So we hadn't been back there. So like I unlocked the door and I looked back at you and I was like, I don't know what we're walking into.
No, it was like, yeah, it was.
And what we walked into was like a roof that had collapsed. There was black mold everywhere. Like you literally couldn't breathe for more than like 2 or 3 minutes without having to go outside. And I was like, I don't think she's going to be able to do this. You know what I mean?
I think I came too late for this house.
Yeah.
For this moment.
Yeah.
And
it's incredible. Like you made it work.
No, what I love about you is you brought this green dress, and I was like, okay, you.
Because I was really like, what do you wear when Annie Leibovitz photographs you?
Very much in control.
I don't know what to wear.
Whatever the situation is, and I have to go with it. It's all right with me. It's just like I was trying to figure out how to have a full-length green dress, in the bedroom, and we went up the stairs, and I couldn't even get far enough back to photograph the whole length of the dress. I actually did not know what I was doing, and then we ended up going back downstairs, and it really was like the front door opened and the natural light came in, and you saw the darkness of the house behind you. Mm-hmm. And in the stairwell there, that's where we ended up taking the photograph. And
yeah.
It's not attractive of you, and you are a very attractive person, and obviously.
Thank you.
But you, I let it go, and I actually I'm at the point where everyone should look as good as they want to look.
Yeah.
And I let it go, and for that reason, I want to, you had your hair pulled back very tight.
Yeah.
And
I had a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't have time. I'm a black woman. Like, it takes time to do my hair.
Yeah.
And like, if I take these braids out, like, it was just a whole thing. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know what am I going to wear for Annie to photograph me? Like, this is a big deal. I don't have a stylist. I was like, I didn't know what to do. So it was just I was like almost panicked. Trying to figure out what,
I would say that picture is very accurate for the moment.
Yeah.
It's definitely a helter-skelter, picture, and there's something.
But it's a beautiful picture. It's a gorgeous picture.
I like about it.
First of all, I think it's a powerful picture. First, it's not just any green dress. It's like a Balenciaga gown.
Darren, you are
fabulous. As a gay man, I love that dress.
Darren,
I love that
Darren, you are absolutely right.
And fabulous.
Listen, I printed it. What I'm trying to say is there's another step to do with Amy. It is my job to figure out which story we're going to tell. And, that is what I do like about portraiture, is that it's not journalism. And it really, I have the opportunity in portraiture, which you as do as well, to have that point of view, and that is why I can be conceptual, and I can and that interests me a great deal. So that's why I'm not finished, and that is actually, if there's a secret to my work, I'm not afraid to go back.
So you're going to go back and have another round with Amy Sherald.
Yeah.
No, we're going to have a collaboration next time.
And where will you go this time?
We haven't talked
Annie
about it.
will know. I don't know. I'm just going to do whatever she wants me to do.
Can we be witness to this, or is it just between the two of you?
We're very introverted people. This is.
I love that they were saying backstage, we're so introverted, we won't talk. It'll be really hard for us to talk. You'll see. It's been really hard to get you two going.
Yeah. Because it's like a cold plunge. You just got to jump right in, and you're like, oh my gosh. And then you're like, do you know what you just said? No. But we started talking.
No, it's a miracle.
It is not a miracle. So let's talk about, though, how the body of work you're pursuing now, is it evolving? Is it changing? You, Amy, and I know many of us would love to hear about the upcoming show at the Whitney and all the amazing things that we saw out in San Francisco, and hoping that it's all coming to New York.
Most of it is coming, and then, there'll be some add-ons as well. It's honestly so hard to talk about that show because my brain is already in the next dimension. And I'm just trying to figure out how to evolve. And I think I'm living this big question now, and trying to match my practice with the pace of the art world and what my needs are as a creative person.
This is the last time she's doing this, is what I'm saying.
And I had a conversation with myself a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I haven't had a lot of time to play in my studio. I just don't have time. Somebody asked me today, we were having luncheon, and Chanel asked me if I draw, and I'm like, I kind of don't have time to draw. I have ideas, and I have to make them. And, there's the art market, but then there's the artist. And I'm thinking maybe I should just make some stuff and have a show just about stuff that I made, because it's part of the process. Everything doesn't have to be this perfect presentation. It can be these are some different thoughts and different ideas that I was working on, and maybe you won't see this stuff again. This is a one-off, because it's stuff that I wanted to paint but couldn't quite articulate how it fits into this bigger picture. And then through that process, I'll go back and find myself again and move on. But I'm really considering that, just having a show where it's just these are some things that I'm thinking about. I don't know what I said I was going to name it a few of my favorite things. But
I think we all would love that, Amy. And I think one of the things that one of the reasons, many reasons you're so admired is because it takes a long time to produce an Amy Sherald painting. Mm-hmm. You don't have a lot of people in the studio helping, and it takes a long time. And therefore, the commercial demands, because everyone wants an Amy Sherald painting, as you know. And
Thank goodness.
my wonderful Kaywin Feldman is out in the audience, and the director of the National Gallery of Art, where I am president, and we have waited to get in line to get an Amy Sherald, and I think we may finally have one.
Yes.
It has been an ordeal.
Yeah.
And we're the National Gallery of Art, okay? To get an Amy Sherald painting, because everyone, but I can imagine the demands on you when the National Gallery of Art is waiting for a painting of mine.
Yeah, I know. I can't sleep at night. It's
And so I think one of the things that it's wonderful to hear you just sort of freestyling. I may just do something different. Mm-hmm. That's just some stuff I want to do.
Just want to get it out, and I should be able to get it out without being, I don't know whether it be criticism or whatever, but I think the art market expects something. Like once Coke made Coke, they couldn't like change the formula. It's like, it has to be Coke, you know? And so there is a level of branding, I think, that happens with art making, and that's fine, but how do you explore within that realm? How do you like evolve and like, you know, make the next album, essentially, you know?
Right, well, and you are articulating what every great artist in our capitalist system is confronted with.
Yeah.
People want that. They want that Michelle Obama-like portrait. Mm-hmm. And you may say at some point, I'm tired of doing that.
Yeah.
And I think I want to do something else.
Yeah.
And I love that you're willing to assert your agency over your own creativity.
Yeah. I'm only a slave to myself.
And for you, Annie, as an artist who, I mean, so many people over the years have said, wanted to commission an Annie Leibovitz photograph of themselves, because we know that with portraiture, having the most important documenter of whatever, that whether it's portrait or photography, painting or photography, they want to have, get Annie Leibovitz. Are there people you say, I just don't want to take your picture?
It's actually very hard to do something for someone, you know, because there's so much, there's an expectation of what they imagine themselves to be. And, you know, sometimes you're not in the same place that they are, you know. It's not, it was very hard for me to do portraits of friends and people that I knew, because I knew how they imagined they looked, you know, and it wasn't necessarily how I saw them. Yeah.
So with photography, with doing the kinds of portraits you do, it really is about how you see them, less than like you projecting.
No, it's more like how they don't see themselves. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because people, it's particularly the kinds of people who could afford an Annie Leibovitz photograph, I mean, think pretty highly of themselves.
No, it's not. I don't think it's like that. I was just saying it's just more complicated, you know. Okay.
Yeah. You oftentimes just want to be like, no, you learn how to be a painter and you paint your own portrait. So like they need to learn how to be a photographer and then they can take their own, because it's like, I'm not here to create your vision. Like you're here to let me create a vision of you.
You know, you brought up at the luncheon the picture of Ella Fitzgerald and the
iconic Ella Fitzgerald.
No, but it's not. I mean, when I drove up to her house, she was, you know, later in age. You know, she didn't live that much longer, and she was in her window on the second story looking out, and she was very closed off from people. And the picture of her should have been in that window looking out, you know. Instead, I did this thing where we did go through her closet, so it was a lot of fun. I mean, there were some great clothes in there. And she did have that car under, you know, in her garage in the back. But, you know, we kind of fabricated that, and it wasn't like what I really saw, you know.
But isn't
so
also...
now I think back on that when you're talking about that picture, I'm thinking she really, you know, there's another picture of her. Yeah.
But isn't portraiture also about fantasy?
Well, of course. I mean, well, who are you talking to? No, of course. No, I mean it can be a lot of things. It can be it's big. It's, you know, which makes it not real.
No, we started by saying it is real. And that
is portraiture real?
Is portraiture, I mean, our picture is real.
No.
Okay, thank you.
then
Because everybody turns something on, unless it's like a candid photograph.
They may not be real,
Yeah.
but they tell us something. They serve a profound purpose. Do they not?
They are and can be instructive, yes.
I have to think about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I think when you see, is there something very interesting about the collective grouping of photographs from a period of time? They start to reveal something more than just individual pictures, actually. I don't know, there's something.
Yeah, I feel that way when I walk through my show at SF MoMA, just to see all of my little warriors, I call them, like all standing together.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You know,
Yeah.
like just really, because I also feel, I mean, like I always say this, like work can be employed in many different ways. So like on one hand, we can say portraits aren't real. On the other hand, they're very real and representation matters. And you know what I mean? So I think it's expansive, like you said. But because for me, I oftentimes feel like as quickly or slowly, because I'm a painter, as I create an image, it's like I'm battling a visual zeitgeist of the opposite of what I'm doing, you know, and it's like, then I become a machine putting out these images to fight the machine that's like trying to tear them down. And it's just, you know, so there's a part of me that wants to, I get out of breath even talking about it because that's what it feels like making the work. It feels like there's so much art history to make up, especially when I think about art history and I think about, you know, I say this in talks all the time, but I'm like, art history is very long. Like we're talking about cavemen and like Black artists weren't given a real show until like the 1940s. And so it's just like this idea of playing catch up to art history when it's so long, it just, you know, so I carry that weight with me. But then I also just want to be free, you know? And so I was raised in a church, and so this is the language that I'm going to use. I'm not religious now, but like that keeps me in the flesh, and I'm trying to live in the spirit. And so like, where do I find that balance where I can continue to evolve as a person, as a woman, as a Black person, as an American? How can I keep that balance of like not getting sucked into the flesh of life and letting my spirit roam and be free and be creative and make beautiful things that matter? So that's...
I really feel like whatever you're going to do, you could go either way, and it's going to be okay either way. I'm just looking at this line that through imagination we can invent ourselves and generate the world we want to live in. Mm-hmm. That's you.
That's me.
And both of you, and your using your craft, have really also been at the forefront of social commentary. I mean, Amy, your portrait of Breonna Taylor, I mean, that portrait was a transformational painting in a moment of racial history in this country. Why did you feel compelled to stop everything and paint Breonna Taylor?
I'm still amazed that our lives even intersected. It's just incredible. It's just incredible that I found myself in that moment. It felt like the right thing to do. Again, like there's that responsibility to use this talent that I have, this craft that I have, to assist in creating visual culture around a moment like that, what was happening. And I was scared to do it. When Ta-Nehisi first asked me, I was like, oh no, you know? But I felt called to do it at the same time. It just felt like the right thing to do, and I felt like the right person to do it.
And for you, Annie, as you think about the moment that we're living through and the role that you can play as a photographer, an artist, What do you want your contribution to be?
I know I've just looked back at it's a lot of what I've been doing lately. I've been photographing a lot of women artists, and I didn't know I had as many as I had, but it's kind of powerful to look at us working in the art world. So it's kind of amazing, yeah.
I'm eager to hear from each of you. What gives you delight, joy, wonder, awe?
Process.
Yeah, I think it's process too. I think it's not.
Explain that for those
It's not
of
the
us who are
painting.
not
So
art
process
people.
is like, process is everything. Process is,
Were you walking down the street when you
Yeah.
know you saw your friend? I mean, that story was so beautiful. That was as beautiful as the
that's
painting.
process. Process was going to the studio every day and like being aware of my surroundings, and things find you and you realize that this is supposed to make it into a painting. Like, I think that's the most pleasurable part of my process. It's like being able to sit down and watch movies, looking at all of your catalogs in preparation for this conversation became part of my process. Like, I found so much inspiration in seeing image after image after image of what you have been able to capture. Reading is process. Looking at poetry is process. Talking to friends. I mean, like, just having conversations. It's everything. Life. It's just life, because life makes art. You can't make art without living a life.
I just want to say I'm inspired by your work, and your simplicity is so powerful, to me, and it reminds me that you don't. I mean, I know it's more than. It's not as simple as it looks, but you make it feel like that, and it's so. It doesn't have to. Anyway, I'm inspired by your work. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie.
Final question as we wrap, I'd like to be hopeful right now. Mm-hmm. Amy, Annie, can you help me be hopeful in this moment? Because one of the reasons I will tell you I am hopeful is because of artists.
Yeah.
Because in moments when I am bereft or depressed or dejected, particularly about any social issue, I think about artists, and I think about artists whose shoulders we stand on, who did not have the privilege that we have, did not have the abundance that we have, did not complain when they couldn't get a table at the right time at the hottest restaurant in town. I mean, the things that matter to us. Mm-hmm. They never had that. And yet they persisted to create beautiful work, write demanding, remarkable, courageous poetry and literature. Are you hopeful? Can you find reasons for hope now?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, and I guess I'm cheating a little bit, because like my natural affect or default is hope. It just is. So like, I have friends who I haven't spoken to since Trump was elected because they just couldn't handle life after that. And I was like, this man about to ruin my life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm about to paint my ass off. I'm going to paint my ass off and like get myself ready to fight the fight for whoever. There's a lot of vulnerable communities out there that are going to be affected, and we need to figure out how to help them. So
She said all. That's great.
life is short.
Join me in thanking Annie Leibovitz and Amy Sherald.
You've been listening to a special episode of Edge of Reason. We'd like to offer a special thanks to the teams at Hauser & Wirth, Cooper Union, and the Ford Foundation for their involvement in this live event and for making this episode possible. If you've enjoyed what you've just heard, please like and review us on Apple Podcasts and help spread the word about our series to other listeners like you. And stay tuned for our third season of Edge of Reason coming later this year.